Sir Bronn of the Blackwater, now Lord of Stokeworth, is one of my favourite characters throughout A Song of Ice and Fire, and is one of those who, as of A Dance of Dragons, has only succeeded in his efforts for power, which I think is quite ironic considering he is one of the most selfish and arrogant characters, further proving George's point that being righteous and honourable doesn't get you very far in Westeros. Bronn's rise to power is one for the ages, starting as a sellsword in the Riverlands, who was conveniently at the inn at the crossroads when Catelyn Stark calls for men to arrest Tyrion. Bronn grows closer to Tyrion on their journey to the Eyrie, and as we know, volunteers to serve as his champion against Sir Vardis Egan, and of course wins. This trial by combat really cements the start of Bronn's climb to power, befriending a man of House Lannister, the richest in Westeros, which is no small thing. Later on, in the Game of Thrones, Bronn accompanies Tyrion to King's Landing where he serves as acting hand of the king. Bronn is an opportunist, and knows with war brewing in Westeros, his best bet is to be the right hand to one of the most powerful men in the realm. Bronn climbs the next rung of the ladder in a clash of kings after the Battle of the Blackwater, where he is knighted, on the suggestion of Tywin Lannister, for efforts in trapping the Baratheon fleet from escaping to Blackwater Bay with a massive chain. He takes as his sigil a green flaming chain on a field of grey, commemorating the battle. As a knight, he gains recognition and station, despite his reputation of being dishonourable, but still widening his stretch of influence. In A Storm of Swords, Bronn is used as a pawn between Tyrion and Cersei, by Tyrion in investigating his attempted assassination in the Battle of the Blackwater, and by Cersei after the death of King Joffrey Baratheon. Cersei, to rid Tyrion of allies, arranges the marriage between Bronn and Lollys Stokeworth, Lady Tanda's daughter, who was raped during the riots of King's Landing, and is pregnant with a bastard. Cersei thinks she's being clever by removing Bronn from court in King's Landing, underestimating his guile and opportunism, but it ends up coming back to haunt her. It's one of the many mistakes she makes in the prelude of A Feast for Crows. Bronn realistically isn't stupid and knows Cersei is getting rid of him, so that he doesn't support Tyrion in his trial, when in fact I don't think Bronn would have anyway. He has no loyalty to Tyrion. He's just using him as a means to an end to gain power, which has worked flawlessly so far. Bronn names Lollys' bastard Tyrion Tanner in honour of his former employer, much to the behest of Cersei, though I think this is on purpose so that she would try and have him killed, which she does, arranging a hunting mishap for him with Felice Stokeworth, the heir to Stokeworth and Lollys' older sister, and her husband Sir Bolman Birch. This of course is not good to plan, as with a lot of Cersei's plans in Feast. Bolman Birch for some reason challenges Bronn to single combat, and Bronn being Bronn obviously beat him dishonourably, killing Bolman's horse with his lance, leaving the knight with crushed legs and then stabbing him through the eye and ordering Felice to leave Stokeworth. We know Felice goes to King's Landing and is sent to Qyburn by Cersei, where she dies screaming in one of his experiments, and Lady Tanda Stokeworth dies from a chill, making Lollys the Lady of Stokeworth and Bronn her lord, one of the most powerful in the Crown Lands. This is the last we hear of Bronn in A Feast for Crows. The Winds of Winter leaves a lot of potential for Bronn to further develop and consolidate his power, with two opportunities arising for him. The first being that Rosby currently has no heir, and 6 claimants according to Grand Maester Pycelle in the epilogue chapter of Dance. I think we already know who these claimants are. We know very few Rosbys in the main timeline of A Song of Ice and Fire, but one we do know is Bethany Rosby, who was the 6th wife of Lord Warder Frey. They had 5 children together: Perwyn Frey, Benfrey Frey, who dies in A Feast for Crows after the Red Wedding, so obviously can't inherit it, William Frey, who was the Maester, Olyvar Frey, and Roslyn Frey, the wife to Edmure Tully, meaning 4 of their 5 children are claimants. We know that there is an unnamed ward to Giles Rosby with a claim on Rosby. However, I believe that this is Olyvar Frey, mentioned before, who was sent there to be isolated from the Red Wedding as he was devoted to Robb Stark. This leaves 2 more claimants, Felice and Lollys Stokeworth, as their mother Tanda was a 3rd cousin to Giles Rosby. Though Felice is dead, the rest of Westeros don't know this, which is why I think Grand Maester Pycelle includes her amongst her claimants, so in actuality, there are only 5 claimants to Rosby. So who will inherit it? William Frey is a Maester and so would likely refuse the title, whilst Roslyn Frey is married to Edmure Tully and will be joining him at Casterly Rock after she gives birth to their child, so will also likely refuse the title. This leaves Perwyn Frey, Olyvar Frey, and Lollys Stokeworth. Perwyn is currently in the Riverlands after the Siege of Riverrun and probably couldn't reach Rosby without being executed by Lady Stoneheart, or he will die at a theorised Red Wedding 2.0. Olyvar Frey, if he is the unnamed ward of Giles Rosby, is at Rosby already, so I could see a future where Bronn has him killed. We know his connections with a lot of sellswords that he hired to protect Tyrion. This leaves Lollys as the sole heir to Rosby, making Bronn the Lord of Stokeworth and Rosby, one of, if not the most powerful lords in the Crown Lands, next to the king. I can see this happening in The Winds of Winter because it suits Bronn's character and story arc that we have seen throughout the series as a dishonourable sellsword who finds himself in a position to attain more power through sheer chance, really. He's one of the characters I can see surviving the series as a whole. Bronn's second opportunity for power in The Winds of Winter will be through young Griff, Aegon Targaryen. I believe it's likely the Targaryen prince will move to take King's Landing after seizing Storm's End in the future Battle of Steel at the start of The Winds of Winter. Aegon can take the capital fairly easily, with tensions rising between the small folk and King Tommen's council. I'm not too sure on the details of how they will take it, but I'm almost certain that it will happen. After naming himself king, Aegon will be looking for new allies amongst the houses of Westeros, and who better than one of his newest and most powerful vassals, the Lord of Stokeworth and Rosby. I can imagine Bronn will be one of the first lords to swear fealty to their new king, knowing that he has no other choice really, likely using it as an opportunity to prevent Aegon in the hope that he will be bestowed with more power in the future, as he has done with Tyrion Lannister. I also believe that Bronn will have Tyrion Tanner killed in the Winds of Winter, his wife's bastard son. He would likely get Lollys pregnant and then kill the baby, as he is a threat to his unborn child's claim. It's very cruel for Lollys, but Bronn has always been very dishonourable and self-interested, so I don't think it goes against his character. This allows for his child to inherit his titles when he dies as a member of his house, whatever he decides to call it, most likely House Blackwater. What do you think Bronn's fate is for the Winds of Winter? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheers.